Hello again, fan. I'm Corey Mintz, and this week on Fed, I'm gonna make a ceviche. Of course, at its most basic, citrus over fresh fish, and that's it. Most traditional version, some lime, chili, cilantro, maybe some corn or yams underneath. This week I'm gonna show you a version I made just from throwing together some junk that I found in my kitchen. Tomatoes are in season, and I found some gorgeous tomatoes around the corner. These are these little cherry things from somewhere in Ontario. And tuna. This is a tuna and tomato ceviche, and I'm kind of hooked on, God, what a terrible wordplay, on this albacore tuna, which is of course sustainable. Okay, now instead of just putting the citrus over the fish, I'm gonna make a dressing for it. And the dressing is gonna be gochujang, which is of course that fermented Korean chili paste, a little olive oil, some sesame oil, and lime juice. Now we're ready to cut up our tomatoes and our fish. So in August in Ontario, it's kind of impossible not to use tomatoes and everything. These are, I think I said cherry tomatoes. My photographer corrected me as they're grape tomatoes, maybe you say big cherry or grande cherry. Either way, he grows tomatoes, so he was correcting me. But you can write to Kathy English, kenglish@thestar.ca if you'd like to see a correction about what species of cherry tomato these are or aren't. This is, as I mentioned, albacore tuna, and all I'm going to do is slice it up in roughly the same size chunks as the tomatoes. Everything's prepped. I'm going to slice up some scallions and some cilantro, and then I'm going to mix together my tuna and tomato in my dressing. Again, I don't want to use too much of this because I do want to preserve, you know, the flavor of tuna and tomato. So stir, stir, stir. Once it's all incorporated there, give it a taste. If you feel it's where it should be, stop there. If not, maybe a pinch more salt. This lime juice just needs a few minutes to soak in, and while that's happening, let me tell you the reason I'm making this dish today. I served it to my neighbors for my first dinner in my new home, and while I had over these strangers who didn't know why they were here and maybe were worried or uncomfortable, I thought, let's have a dish ready to go that needs zero prep at the last minute and you can throw on the table, chilled. I did make one mistake. For some reason I came up with this thing underneath to serve it with, roasted yams and spinach, which in theory tasted great, but it was like mush on top of, it was not a good combination. I came up with a better version, which is what we're gonna do right now, with shrimp chips underneath, which is crispy, and people like crispy things. Tuna tomato ceviche, that's the way that one went. And I just discovered these are actually lobster chips, not shrimp chips. So it turns out I got lobster for the price of shrimp. For tips like that and more, join me next week with another Fed on thestar.com. Until then, I'm Corey Mintz. Enjoy your week.